Hey, welcome back to John's Texas Workshops. We're up here at our wood shop and thought I might give y'all a shop tour today. Uh, this is our old home that we lived in for about 7 years in the 80s. And we built our new home right next to it. And this was just a storage building for the past 35 years or so, I guess. Anyway, in 22 and 23, we finally took some time and took the second floor out and converted it into a pretty nice workshop. If you got a minute, stick by and I'll show you the inside. Okay, let's get started over here on the west wall. I guess the centerpiece of my shop is I got 4 of these Harbor Freight cabinets. We got 2 of the 72s, one here and one there, and 2 of the 56s. I just thought it was an ideal way to get a lot of drawers quick, and I like the color. I like the way they work. I just think they're pretty good quality stuff. We just keep, this is mainly all of our Milwaukee tools, and have them all in the drawers, and it works nice. We keep a lot of it, the accessories and stuff right under them. Of course, we have our trash. We have our air hose on a reel, which I can go out the door if I need to air something up. Fire extinguisher and our burning torch. Keep a lot of these cheaper clamps. I think they work good. So anyway, we put these 2 cabinets in here and kept them far enough apart to where we could drop down our old radio arm saw. That thing's been around here close to 50 years. And we usually just keep a dope blade on it. That we keep it where we can change it out. Found a handy thing, if you mount a couple of these magnets on your wall, you can keep the shims in your other blade where it's easy to check out. And we've got plenty of old wrenches around. We just keep a set that it takes to change it, and it makes it pretty instantaneous. I don't have this tied up on my central dust collection system, so we just use this little vacuum, and we've got it tied in on a switch that when you turn the saw on, that it kicks the vacuum up. It works really nice. Got a treble light we hardly ever use, levels and so forth. We got one of these little carts. It's what we used to use for our nail guns and stuff, and keep some of the air nail guns in there and here. But I guess since we have all the cordless tool now, it doesn't get used very much. It's got one of those quiet little compressors in the bottom. It's really pretty quiet. It's a pretty good little setup. Coming on down, hammers and chisels and saws and pry bars and all our measuring tools are kept in these cabinets. Get over here, we got a little old grinder with a buffing wheel on it. It's handy every once in a while. Got our shop radio and OCD player, the old under the counter radio and CD player we had in the house. I brought it out here and it still works great. Oh, we keep our nails in an old cabinet that was in this house. Just the old laundry detergent bottles. It works good. Let's see if we can get the camera moved here. Okay, we're gonna over here on the south wall now, and we got our little Rikon 10326 bandsaw. We use it mainly for resawing. We build a lot of flags and other things. It's just a hobby shop, but we enjoy playing out here. But it's been a very nice tool. We have it on casters, and it's one of the 6 tools that we have on our central dust collecting system. Coming on down, we've got the cabinets here, and our miter saw is mounted in the middle here. It works really good. It's just a DeWalt saw that tilts, and we got pretty good dust collection in the back. It's not perfect by any means, but I've got a shut off on there, but it's so hard to reach. We just built this cone and put an old rag around it. You just throw that in there and it just stops the dust instantaneous and so easy to move. And again, it's built with the Harbor Freight cabinets. Got the vacuum in the center. Didn't know quite where I was going to put my lathe. This shop is about 30 by 30, but being an A-frame, it's got the 22.5-degree slope. So, you know, you lose about a foot of floor space every 2.5 feet as you come up. So I took the stand off of this lathe and I used a couple of these handles that came off this cabinet. And we just put that on there and just built a plywood frame. And you can just pull that out when you want to use the lathe, which isn't very much, and then push it back in. It doesn't push real easy, but it will go. Instead of building a fence, we just left a 3/4 inch slot when we put this plywood on top of these cabinets, and we mounted a tape measure in there, and you just take a regular clamp, and in that hole there, you can just look and see whatever length you want. Clamp that up and use that for the stop. It's plenty accurate, you know, for what I do. Works good. If you want to get closer to the saw, we made this little board here that's got this little notch there. It goes down there, and you just add 24 inches to whatever you want to cut off here by the saw, and just move this over there to it. Use it for the stop, and then you got it here to cut with. Works good. But these little magnets are handy. We have them all over the shop. And just have my old tools from 55 years ago down there. To keep them sharp, they still work. It's coming on down. We got a little Craftsman router table. As you can tell, I've been collecting tools for 50 years. Always had an interest in woodworking. This is my little Rock-On belt sander. Works good. This is something I fixed up where we can kind of use this for two purposes. The way it's got now, it's over here on the corner. It's got a knee switch here. You can turn on, kick it off with your knee. Then when you want to use your miter saw, I just put a little pivot right here and put this on a piece of 3/8 inch plywood. Turn it over here and gets it completely out of the way. We can actually cut a 12-foot board of both directions here. These cabinets, we keep our router and our track saw, and you know, it doesn't take long to fill up your cabinets. This is a Taiwan shaper. We've also got a router head that goes in there, so if we want to do a lot of routing, we could put it in there. We bought these in the early 90s when we built our new house over there and made all the cabinets. And works good. We've got it tied up on the dust collection system, and it's fixed on a rotor so we can pull it out, work wherever we want to. This is another old cabinet that was in the house, built on the 22.5-degree slope, so we just incorporated it for a little extra storage. And we've got our dust collection here that goes over to the shaper. I'll show you in a second. Let me go back and turn the camera and we'll show you some more. Okay, we're over here on the east wall. We got our old Craftsman combination tool chest that I've had forever. Keep our mechanical tools, our sockets, and odds and ends in there. You know, when you work in the shop by yourself, you pretty well know where everything is. And then we got this planer that we bought the same time we bought that a shaper over there, and it was made in Taiwan in the early 90s, and it's been a good machine. So we just pulled it out when we want to use it. It's on the rotor system. We have the hose over here that we just bring over here and plug in and collects the dust. It works good. Kind of pull you back in the center here. This is the old joiner that came out of a school. I bought it years ago also. It's an 8-inch joiner and works good. Just built this handy so we can do our joining a little safer. If you can see here, you see where I've got my Festool vacuum and my 125 sander. Didn't know where to put it when we got this. So, I'll just put that up there. And we just took a swivel out of an old office chair and mounted that. When you pull this thing around, gets the cord out of your way. The Festool, when you turn your tool on, the vacuum comes on. That's all we ever use it for. It's a sander, so I'm not too worried about having big chips or anything in there. And it gives me a good 180-degree range around this table. Speaking of this table, this is my outfeed table. It's 54 by about 8.5 feet long, 10 inches, I think. But when we built this house, when we redid this, it had the second floor here, and we had a bedroom up there and a bath, and one down here, and it took quite a bit of work to get it converted over. But anyway, we had all this beautiful yellow pine that was in the floor joist, and so I built this cabinet out of it. It's stout and holds that plywood good. And then we used some extra flooring that I had for our project that I did in our new house later on, and we had this much left, and we kind of had to piece it up to get it completely covered, but it worked good and didn't have to buy anything, so that's been nice. But it's nice to have that long outfeed table. You can run I think you can run up to 12-foot boards through there, and then this will support it as it comes off the saw. Speaking of the saw, we got to upgrade it this year to a saw stop, 52-inch table, and 3-horsepower motor, runs on 220. And I just love that table. That guide. This first time I ever had a guide that you didn't have to measure on both ends of it on the saw. Old Craftsman, you always had to measure the back end and the front every time you cut because it'd be a little bit out of square. We just built a little drawer system under it to store the blades and the accessories for it, and it works good. Okay, we're out here on the east side of the shop, outside. And kind of got an advantage living out here in the country that if you're wondering how come you didn't see a dust collection unit inside, I put it out here in this old plastic dog house. So it's got a main 6-inch line that feeds all the 4-inch lines from the 6 tools inside. And got one of those automatic clickers on my saw there, so I can kick it on whenever we want to use one of those tools, and it just brings it out here and it blows that dust and stuff in this trailer. It works pretty good. I've got to build some latches so it doesn't blow these doors open so bad, but it's got quite a bit of stuff in there, so we can just get our little garden tractor or whatever and haul that off and shovel it out. It gets a little damp sitting outside, but we're still over here on the east side. These are some more tools that I've had a long time. I used to be a big Craftsman fan, and they're still great tools, I think. Just can't hardly get them anymore. Anyway, this is a drill press, and it does exactly what I want to do. You change the belt speed with the belt. You don't push a button, but it works very good. We use it a lot. This is a little Craftsman belt and disc sander. My little Craftsman jigsaw. We keep a small blade on this one and a big one over there where we do a resaw. And this is kind of how we make all our waves on our flags. Got it on a little cart where you can pull it out and work on it and push it back in. This is a coat machine that we showed on some other videos. When I was in high school in '72 for $30, we just took the inside apart and put a little wine refrigerator in there with a glass door and filled our stuff on there, and it really works good. And the cheapest thing I could do for $300, I thought, and it made a real nice addition to the shop. This north wall is kind of our clamps. Keep a lot of them. Tables here are our two Harbor Freight workbenches. We just put them together and put good plywood on the bottom to tie them together, and it works good. I mean, the vices aren't very heavy, but they do exactly what we need to do. This is my flag frame that we used to put those flags up here. It just ties into this one clamp here, and you can take it off whenever you want to, or move it and get it out of the way. But we just kind of followed our 22.5 degrees and set this up here, and that's just about perfect in my opinion. Just you can lay your blocks up here as you're gluing them or down them or however you do it. Works good. This is my dad's old Craftsman table saw. It's been around here my whole life, so it's got to be at least 65, 70 years old. These things were neat. They came with a little joiner over here, which we took off, and also had a scroll saw attachment that went on top. You tied into that motor. We just keep a 1/4 inch dado blade in there for my shells that we put on those flags for the firemen. Works really good. We're going to finish up over here on the north wall. We just, like I said, we have these old cabinets that I had in the house that I built in the real early '80s. We used them for china and stuff, and they don't fit anywhere else, so we just left them in the shop and moved them around where they worked. Again, my clamps and my guides for my track saw. Got an 8-foot level there. We use a lot in fence building. Really handy. We have these old storage drawers that I've had forever. Keep our hardware in. More of those cabinets and cabinets on the end. These old ugly boards are ones I set on the table there to paint my flags or whatever else we're painting. We just got these drywall screws in there where you can paint the bottom and turn it over and put it on those deals. You can do your whole paint job at one time. And this final table here is on casters. And we have a farm shop down there, so we were able to build our own vise. We just built the vise in these pegs out of old cultivator parts. Put them in there, and makes a great stop. And we have our old Craftsman wood vise. We had to build a different holder for it, but it works good. But this cart is handy. It's on casters. They're locked down now, but I can move it over there where I have all that plywood storage. You can block one edge of that plywood up, go over there and pick up the other, and it's got a groove here that set that plywood on, and take that plywood and just swing it up, haul it over to the saw on top of the table wherever you want it. Sure helps for one person trying to lift all that heavy plywood. Get behind the camera and I'll show you one more quick thing. There's my big ass fan. It's ridiculous to have one that big in here. There is a story behind that. My daughter got married there 7 years ago. She wanted to get married on the ranch, so we had our wedding in the hay barn, and in June it was going to be hot, so I bought that thing and put it in there and did a dang good job in a 60 by 80 foot barn to bring some breeze in there and just sit in storage. I couldn't make it fit in my farm shop and still get my equipment in, so I just had it in storage. When I built this, we put it in here, and you turn that thing on about 30 or so, and in the summer, and 30%, and it'll cool off. You get it much over 50, it just stirs dust up everywhere. But it's kind of a neat attraction. I kind of like it. Anyway, these A-frame buildings are kind of interesting to work in, but it does work. Well, I appreciate y'all stopping by. If you like the shop, you might give me a comment or subscribe. We're just playing around with YouTube, kind of enjoy it.